Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we got ourselves a delightful assembly line up and crafted. I have not wired it up for anything yet, because I only barely managed to figure out how to use the data sticks. So, I was right. We did finish that up, and I got ourselves the Elite Scanner, which then you put an item in with it to then set it up with a recipe. So this one we did the LUV electric motor, and I guess we could grab out one so I can show how to do that. I do need another data stick, and then we're gonna have to look up a recipe really quick. But it is in the scanner. Don't want to do a pump just yet. We do need one that can work in the EV because that's going to be our next stuff. So it could do like the data bank, bulk data storage, transferred with optical cables. Data can be chained together. Not exactly sure what that's used for, so I don't want to use that one yet. We could do... Ooh, this would definitely be a good one to get. The robotic arm. What is this? Patron in. I think that's what we should go for. So, but that's gonna take the whole episode to craft. What about this one? LUV energy hatch. How about that? That'll be a good one to have a spare of. IV energy hatch. Boop and boop. Just went off over here. Oh, that thing did. Okay. Now the only question is... I think that's doing something else currently still, so we'll have to wait on that. So in the meantime, let us get started on today's... Oops. Knocked something off my desk. Today's episode of getting ourselves something I've been procrastinating on. The liquid polybenzimidazole. Polybenzimidazole. A final form of plastic that we're going to have to make. I don't know if this is like actually the last one or not. But I did end up having to stuff an absolute ton of parts in here because it is a large amount of... Oh, we finished that last chemical reactor. We need one more. There it is, right there. Okay, we got our items that we need. We also do need one of these IV energy hatches for it. So let's go pop our data stick in here so that we don't lose it somewhere along the way. And let's go start our journey to make something similar to this. And then I'm going to have to set up an auto crafter so that I only craft so much, as a lot of these other materials we will need for other things. So one thing I do want to make sure we have... Nitration, we do not. So let's get us some storage buses started as well, so that we can have some other liquids that we need to bring over at some point. Is it this one that's the extra one? It is. So let's go with that back. I forgot that that gives us that slowness debuff. Come on, there we go. And now... let us get started. We're going to go ahead and press this. I think I want to kind of press it as close as I can this way, and we'll move out that way as we go. It's going to be a little bit loud and obnoxious as we got our energy dispensers over here. Somebody was telling me in the comment section that the tooltip for this... Let's look at that really quick. Extreme combustion engine with liquid oxygen. Good to know. Okay, so we will have to make liquid oxygen to put in there some other time using that same freezer method, but a little bit sad that that didn't actually do a recipe for us so that we would know... Oh no, did I not make any maintenance hatches? This is a problem as well. Let's go ahead and look at getting those up and running. We can do the first one and start another, I don't know, 10 of them. And there is our IV energy hatch to put in that thing a little bit later. For now, what I've decided to do, so we need our polybenzimidazole. And to do that, we need both our diphenylene isophyllate and diamonyl. Oh my goodness, if I can actually like have this in front of my face. Let me move it closer to my face so I can actually read the letters. Kind of dark screen here, so alright. Diminobenzide. Diminobenzidine. All chemicals that I've never heard of before. I'm sure they're used in plenty of different things. But who knows? People much smarter than me. The first thing we need to do is we need to make chlorobenzene. Something that we do not have any of anywhere. And the interesting thing is this is going to make hydrochloric acid. I don't think we end up using that again throughout the process. But we'll end up seeing as we go. Wait. The chlorobenzene can be made that way, and we get iron chloride too, which can be used to make hydrochloric acid. What? Okay, that's how you make that stuff. So yeah, I don't want to go through that recipe. So we're going to go through the one that we've got right now. Okay. 1, 2, 3 across. Put our hatch. And we'll go 3 across down. We need our lovely copper nickel block at the bottom. And then I've made plenty of these triple input hatches, as it makes it a lot easier to input the items that we need, or the fluids that we need, into one hatch rather than multiple, and then pipe out the desired outputs from ones that I'll just have to pull out my trusty screwdriver to invert those hatches. So, we need our power input, so let's go ahead and drill out a hole for the power. And I believe this very first one here, chlorobenzene, does not require anything special, so we're going to actually use the EV energy hatch, as that was the plan for this one. To slap on an EV energy hatch. And then we have those two. We need our outputs. We need pipe casing, and then start filling the outside blocks besides one for a maintenance hatch. So let's put that maintenance hatch on in. Right up front and center. Come on, where's the wrench at? Wrench right there. Okay. And then we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to have 2 outputs, which are going to be using these ones, which we'll flip around with a screwdriver. I'll put 1 here because that's going to be the hydrochloric acid that we will send back to I have to screwdriver this thing first. Hydrochloric acid that we will send back into the system. So, now, with this input bus, we do need to input chlorine and benzene. So let's grab out our interface, is what I wanted to do. Slap those in there, and we'll go right here. Okay. So now we need both our chlorine and benzene. Okay, so chlorine 2 and benzene 1. And this should automatically start pulling that in. And as soon as we wire that up to some power, we should be producing exactly what we need. We will have to drag out 2 lines from this. Unfortunately, I forgot to do transformers too, so let's get those transformers up and running. Transformers. Not that one. Not that one. This one right here. And it looks like they're still waiting on some different things to process over here. I'm not sure what. Oh, it looks like we're processing stainless steel at the moment, so that's going to be a minute. But that will produce both our hydrochloric acid and our chlorobenzene. So now we just need our chlorobenzene to come out the back here. The next step after that is our nitrochlorobenzene, which will produce nitrochlorobenzene from nitration mixture and chlorobenzene. However, we do not have that hooked up, so we're going to have to go grab our storage buses and hook that up. And then we've got diluted sulfuric acid that will come out of that, which can be run through our automatic... Oh, we got our transformer actually much faster than I expected. We just need our storage buses. So let's get this set down there. And we'll start with it probably straight up. Let's grab ourselves one of these wires. Right there and right there. And then we can grab this. And I should have some more of this Sumerian wires, which I do. That's good. Put some of those back away, just so we have them for later. And we can start dragging our power over. We're gonna, like I said, need to drag over... Actually, I think we only need one. Because this will do 1. This will do 6. So yeah, this will be just fine. And we'll go up. We need to go one more. And up there. Grab out our wire clitters. Snip. And snip. And one more right there. And then the best part is we can run this out to our other machines later, but we should see that this should make ourselves... Do I need a number in there? I do. It's number 1. So let's go ahead and grab our input hatch and put a number 1 circuit. And now we will get ourselves the chlorobenzene and the hydrochloric acid. Wonderful. Okay. So now we need to go put our nitration mixture directly onto our storage bus, since we never did that. So here's our nitration mixture. It looks like our closest cable is going to be right there. Wait, where is the nitric acid? Hello? Is it pumping straight out of there to every other place that we need to put it through? Where's that pipe going? What? I'm so confused. Do we have this going up to a container, or is this going straight into our machine? It's going straight into our machine as well. Okay, so that's gonna be something we're gonna have to figure out. Let's get ourselves a tank. Do I have a tank? Or a gold drum? Tank. I guess we'll have to do ourselves an interface somewhere along this way. We could probably do it. Our easiest bet is to come over here. Put ourselves an interface. What is this pumping out? Benzene? Benzene, okay. Probably put ourselves an interface right there. And grab out some wires to hook us directly into our system. 1, 2. Now we're just gonna have to wrench ourselves. Ah, no, we're not gonna that's not gonna work. We need to have it be a storage bus, because that will start to fill up our system. So we'll have it directly be the tank if that finishes up quickly enough. Where's our... We are full up inventory-wise. So that's gonna be a minute. Let's go ahead and go set up what we need then, since it's not gonna work otherwise. So without a tank and a place to store it, that's just not a useful way to run things. Totally thought that I stored it before, but I guess not. So, now we can run our second machine, which I think it would have been better to pipe it over there, but that's fine. We're going to run our second machine right here with our multiple hatch input. And I guess... I'm going to want that going into some sort of tank as well. Is this... That's fine. I just realized it's not going to work. The way... Actually, no, it will. It will work the way I intended it. I just realized that because you can pump in liquids from the side. So we're going to make our second one here. So we're going to go ahead and do one block apart, maybe two, just for sake of some space that we know that we're going to need. And we're going to go ahead and put our power hatch right here. And this one is going to have our coil and our pipe casing. Coil, pipe casing, and our input hatch, which does need to be right there. So I can pipe this input over using our fluid pipes. Which I grabbed ones that can handle acids just in case I end up needing to handle with acids. But there's that. So now the chlorobenzene will go into there. And actually, I do think I can orient it like that, and it should still enter. And then we'll still get the sucking motion from pipe to be able to wire this on over. And then say with this recipe right here, we need 2 nitration mixture. So we've got ourselves that, get ourselves the interface, and say this needs to stock nitration mixture. And now we can finish up the rest of it with our 2 outputs. We will need our sulfuric acid. Not sulfuric acid, where is it? Nitrobenzene. Our diluted sulfuric acid is going to go one place, and our nitrochlorobenzene will go a different. So, again, we will take our... Where is the output? Right here. So we'll take our output hatch there, and one there, and wrench them around. Diluted sulfuric acid is going to go back in the system to our automatic distillery for it. And then the nitrochlorobenzene will come out of this end over here. Now I guess I should double check. This temperature should work for those pipes. I nearly forgot about that with the previous incidences that have happened. So now we just need to put in our energy hatch. And I think the rest of our blocks, and we're golden. No, we also need... Oh, I don't know why I always do this. I go down below, even though I can do this, and wrench it face downwards. And then I wanted to make sure... I like to orient the blocks the same direction, just because it gets annoying to me otherwise. Some form of, like, impulsiveness, I guess. That's not a good sign. I should probably check on where we are at power-wise with some of this stuff. As running out of power with these machines is not a good idea. We've got plenty of power, but it seems to be taking forever to craft some of these things. Did something happen to our recipes over here? No, everything's on. Something happened over here? Oh boy, that's what happened. Making electrum. And then the other things needed for that. That's what's going on. And that's in there. That's our biggest kicker right there. That's fine. So we've got our hatch. We need our chemical reactor. And that will fill up that machine. And then the last thing to double check. So I need HV power, but that just means this will be faster. And then on top of that, what was it? I could think again. Oh, it'll be a little bit faster, and so our power needs are also met. This one here, we've already configured our outputs, so we now can just simply take in our return items, and we'll put that one there. And now we can drag this further out once again. Feels kind of nice to see that this stuff is going to work pretty well. It is going to fill up this entire pipe, which is good. Okay, nitrochlorobenzene then gets made into our dichlorobenzene. But benzidine, sorry, dichlorobenzidine. And for that, we need 18. So our input hatch that I was wanting to do is not going to work because you do need 2 separate input hatches. That is fine. We can correct that issue relatively quickly. Or I can actually do the tiny one. Is there any benefit? That does just 9 crafts at once, it looks like. So it's really just about a faster craft and not having to craft tiny piles of dust. However, I don't think that requires all that much. I think I could auto-craft that. And then just have it request those. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Set that up to auto-craft and then request those so I could still use the 4 input thing. Wait a second, what? Where's our 4 input over here? Never mind, we could still use that other recipe. Who am I kidding? What? Yeah, who am I kidding? I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. The pack says I can. Alright, so we got our tank now. So let's go get that set up with a storage bus for the nitration mixture. I do know this is going to start eating through a lot of our reserves on some stuff for it to start filling up a tank like this. But that is something we're going to have to deal with a little bit, as otherwise we're not going to be able to run this recipe. So just set that up there, and then we should be able to go back to the other side and see that that has been running as intended. So where is our thing here? Okay. So, no. It is now auto-stocking. I do... Oh, well, it's there. Polybenzine and nitration mixture together. Again, there's no number for this, so I don't know why it's not recognizing... Oh, insufficient energy. You know what? That would be smart to wire up energy to the thing that needs energy to run. So let's go ahead and wire that up. 1, 2, 1, 2, and handy dandy wire cutters. And now that should be working, making ourselves the nitrochlorobenzene. and shoveling off our diluted sulfuric acid. Looks like we also got our energy hatches done. And my inventory is getting crowded. So let's go ahead and go, in the meantime, dump this directly into the scanner, as it's going to take some time to do so. But as you'll see, over 30 seconds, it will input a new information into the data stick. When we come back, that'll show us how to, or show the assembly line, if we stick it into the data stick area, how to craft a LUV energy hatch. So that's going to be how that works now. So, next machine, we need to do the... Where did it go? Chlorine, benzene, nitrochlorobenzene into the dichlorobenzidine. So, this is where we're going to have to add in our input bus hatch. So let's go ahead and put that 2 spaces in between. We will again put our power right there and let it know. I think this is one of the first ones. No, this one still only requires EV. So we'll use our EV energy hatch and put it down that way. How about those? Because we are going to need those. Then we need our input hatch, which we will place once again just like so. As you can see, it's still filling in from the side over here, which is exactly what we want. And then we're going to output this from here. Oh no. Let's do this and that, and then this and that. That is not how I wanted that to go. Okay. Fixed. And now we can stuff it in there. And then get ourselves a interface on here, supplying 16 hydrogen. And it's not going to supply it at 18. It's not going to supply directly at 18, but that is fine enough. We are going to want to queue up some more interfaces. I had a storage bus in there the whole time. So let's get those queued up, because I think we're going to use the rest of what we currently have on this particular machine here, as we now need to put ourselves a input bus. Let's grab our wire out. I could, and this is probably where I will do this. I don't mind importing items, because items aren't super slow. We don't want the tiny pile of copper dust. We want the full copper dust item inserted directly into there. Is that going to work, or... Oh, we're going to have to insert a crafting card. I just realized that. And there we go. So it's going to go through and start crafting up some of that stuff. Should probably switch it to we can have some stored ones too. Then I think it's time to fill in up the rest of the machine here. So we've got ourselves that. We've got ourselves... How many outputs do we get from this? Looks like we get just the dichlorobenzidine. So let us fill out the rest of this. Boom. Boom. And then we can go, and from here, this is where we get our diminobenzidine, which is then used for that. So we are at the end of our tier here. This is going to require IV zinc dust once. So even though I have an input there, it will require a single item, and then ammonia, which I don't know if we have on bus. So that might be another item we'll have to activate the bus for. Let us get our output hatch. And then the rest of these can all be... Actually, that's not going to cut it, is it? That's not going to cut it. We got to get ourselves a bigger hatch. Let's get ourselves the... Just LV. LV should be just fine. So LV... Oh boy. LV hatch. Output hatch right there. Boom. Craft those all into the flat face ones. And then we can grab out the rest of our blocks. And done. Come on, give me the new hatch. And there we go. That should allow us to do... Oh, we're missing our maintenance hatch. You know, one of the most important ones for all of our machines. Because all of our machines need maintenance to run. And there we go. So now... that requires energy. You know, once again, requires energy. Not just wishful thinking and all of that other stuff. And our clippers. Done. So there is the 3 lines there, plus one more is to come for the final item that we need. This is going to take, what is it, 90 seconds to get our dichlorobenzidine. And then that is to go in to make our diaminobenzidine, which needs zinc, one of the dichlorobenzidine, and ammonia. And then we'll get more hydrochloric acid back out of it with our diaminobenzidine. Okay. Now comes the question. Ammonia. Do we have it? We do have it on hatch. That is great news. I was worried that we were going to have to figure something out about that. So now we're going to wedge this one just a little bit closer. 1, 2, 3. With our IV power hatch. This is where it becomes important. Because at the end of both of these chains, you require the IV power hatches. As well as to make the final plastic product. Where is the wrench? And we're going to put that down. And now we can place our block and our input. And our input bus. So now we need our zinc. Excuse me. Our single zinc bus. And we can pipe over our fluids. Boom, boom, boom. So there's the first one. And now the second one is to bring along our lovely little pipe here. And then say interface. Let's bring in our ammonia. And here we go. Let us quickly assemble the rest of our case. And we need one of these. So place that first. And then this one makes 2 outputs. So we will want our 2 output buses. Let's go find those again too. Outputs. You know what? That can go in the backpack for now. Output there, and then the last one, the last output here, I'm going to put out in the middle. So let's get the rest of the multi-block structure built. And we're going to output it right there, actually. Boom. Right-click to output, right-click to output. And then pipe casing in the center. And we got 1, 2, 4, and a whole nother stack that I've been chewing through as well. There is that. So this one has to be our hydrochloric acid that we're going to get out of this recipe. And the other one has to be this. Now we can go drag our power over to get that one started. So this is where I'm going to drag this power line all the way to the end here. course I'm going to mess it up already. And 1, up 1, and then over. 1, 2, 3, and up again. Actually break that, as we need to reach in there with our clippers. Set up the power there, and then we can run our clipper right there, fix that, and there we go. Okay. So, already through that. That's actually crazy that we go from a 90-second craft here to a 5-second craft here. Now, one of the other things that we'll have to do towards the very end here is I only want so much of this, because this will chew through a lot of materials relatively fast if I just let it go. So we're going to set this up to be a craft it. Once a certain amount has been, threshold has been met, then we will shut off the power to the last machine that we're gonna put into place. But now we have ourselves the next chain that we need for this, which is our diphenyl isophyllate, which needs our phenol and phthalate acid, which needs naphthalene. And naphthalene, oh, that's right. We need ourselves some coal tar. Was there another way to get that phthalic acid? Naphthalene. That's the one I was gonna do. I remember it now. Okay, okay. So we can either do it with this potassium diachromate dust, which... actually, I don't know how to make that one. So how are we making that? We're making that from saltpeter, which I don't think I have any of that. Chromium oxide in a reactor. Well, this is news to me. Okay, so let's see if we can actually whip this up. Saltpeter can be made again using potassium, oxygen, and nitrogen. So let's go whip some recipes up, especially since I don't think I have any saltpeter left. Salt. Yeah, no, I have no saltpeter left. So we'll rip up two recipes for saltpeter. So saltpeter, we need this one. Chemical reactor. Done. We have all of those, so that can just get tossed in somewhere. And then this other one, which needs chromium trioxide. That's going to have to go to another hatch too. So we'll get that. And then we need this one. Which is just like so. Okay. And let's stick this into the auto crafter for that one, and then we'll do this one here. And then we need ourselves a... is it a centrifuge to separate that stuff out? I guess we can make it into the nitric acid, which I don't think I am doing that stuff. I think I'm using the different recipe that requires ammonia. I am. So other than that, I don't know if we really have a use for it, and we should really just put it into an electrolyzer. Ooh, which begs the question, do we have an electrolyzer to stuff it in? I mean, I could probably have it export over here using some sort of method. Okay, are we backed up somewhere? With graphite. Let me find myself my upgrade. That would have been good to know a while ago, because that's going to mess up with a bunch of things. Where is our graphite? Oh. Ooh, that's actually a really good idea. I just realized we aren't putting to use... That's not working again, that's great. We're not putting to use our electrolyzer over here still. So one thing I could do we have a fluid input hatch somewhere? We do. Don't know if I have an output hatch, though. Input hatch. I should have to have an output hatch. I guess I'm going to need to do that another time. So let's just queue up ourselves electrolyzer. Electrolyzer parts right here. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Plan tree 4. That should finish up pretty quickly, actually. Okay. So now that we've got this thing made, we need to be able to make the phthalic acid. That is a pain in the butt recipe compared to this one. Okay, so it also goes from phthalic acid directly into our diphenyl isotulfate. I believe that's how you pronounce that. So we're going to start that machine back over here because it's going to go 1, 2, and then final machine 3. So we have our 2, let's put, we can deal with the 1 block tolerance here. And then I do think I would like to put our energy hatch in a slightly different spot here. And we will put our input, where is it? There we go. Our input bus right there. We need our last EV energy hatch right here. And positioned downward. And then we need our different things for the inside. Our controller block, our maintenance hatch, and then the outputs. So the outputs for phthalic acid are water. Oh, and it can be done at a lower recipe cost. So water, which we will void. And we actually need a bigger hatch for that. So that's good to know. So we need ourselves the water, and then we need ourselves the phthalic acid, which both of those actually also require the larger hatches. So let's go to our hatch. And I think we're going to actually have to go with an even bigger one, because I think, yeah, 16 buckets is also too small. So we have a 32. This will be the water, and then we can craft a single LUV hatch for the phthalic acid. Phthalic? I feel like there's some letters that are probably silent in that I'm not aware of. Makes me feel like I should have practiced these words before I even started this episode, but what are you gonna do? So this one is going to be voided. I am going to put it over here so I can remember to void it. But this is going to be our water output. So water goes there. This one is going to be our acid output. Which is just acidic. Temperature-wise, we are fine. We simply need to make it an output hatch since I crafted an input hatch. Okay. So you've got our benzene thing here. We also... Ooh, I forgot to bring this back into the fold here. So let's go ahead and do that. Done. Okay. So now that we've got all of that stuff set up, the next process is to bring over the stuff that we actually need. So... Ooh, I almost forgot the input bus here that we needed. Which this is something else. We're going to need the crafting card here for that one. So input bus. We need ourselves the interface. One. And an input there. And let's bring ourselves our cable right up across. We'll do the... that's not a cable. We'll do the bottom. And then we can come neatly back up again. And so the input in gases, we needed ourselves the oxygen and dimethylbenzene. Okay, so dimethylbenzene and oxygen. And it looks like we have not hooked that other one up yet. And then we need our potassium dichloramate dust. So, not that there. We want this here. And then we need ourselves a crafting card. Hopefully, that actually can go into our auto crafters. It can. Okay, that is good to know. So it is crafting, and it did craft enough to put in there. Sweet. But that is going to go through a couple cycles of crafts. We can electrolyze that later. Where is our electrolyzer? Boom. So that we can put right here, right up front and center, so that we know that this will be where we're going to store that. And then I think we have... Let's go get that import bus. That's probably our best bet, actually. Right here. We got copper in it, so let's go ahead and... right-click that off there, and then get the copper going in through here. Oh, no. There we go. And then that'll process what I needed. Okay. So, we can immediately fix the issue that this needs to be exporting our nitrogen dioxide directly into it. And actually, we'll want to pull it out from the top. So let's get our fluid output up on top. I don't think we're using anything in the... I guess it's going somewhere else? I don't know. It's not going out is what it's not doing. That's what it's doing. Got it. There we go. So now that should start to fill up and do its thing. Good job. Okay. Taken care of. Now we just need to hook this up to power, I'm pretty sure. And then we should be... Oh. We had that one more thing we had to hook up to a storage bus. That's right. We had to bring a storage bus over here to hook up to this thing. Not the button I wanted to be hitting, but, you know. Hover. There we go. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. And that is now hooked up to our storage bus. Sweet. Turn off hover and go back on over. So we should be able to come over and see this thing working as soon as we pipe up the energy to it, like I've said so many times before. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we need ourselves that. And there we go. Okay, making our phyllithaic acid. Phthalic acid. Phthalic acid? That sounds closer to what I'm actually looking to make. Okay, now comes the last. The diphenyl isophyllate. Okay. Well, now the only other thing, and this is the confusing part, I don't remember where I'm making phenol at. So I don't remember if it is hooked up to the bus. It is not. So can we make ourselves a ender fluid duct? Ender fluid link right there. So I know it's attached to a fluid link, so we can do it that way. So we have our phthalic acid coming out. Oh, and then we need a void. Actually, yeah, we'll grab an actual void instead of rely on this hopefully doing what I need it to. So we'll queue that up as well. Now we are going to do that 1 block gap again, like before. However, we're going to place our energy probably right there, isn't it? I'd like to place it. And so we are getting into the last machines, which all require IV energy input. It looks like we got our void cover, so we can trigger that one to do its thing. So that's going to be right there, and we're going to void anything that goes in. It says we're out of outputs. Well, that's right, it does make 9 in a batch. So there's that. And our final quadruple input, which once again we'll be placing this direction so that we can bring our cables over as input and go up the 1. Now we need ourselves sulfuric acid, the other phthalic acid. So let's get our interface up and running with the... Actually, I might as well probably just hook up both the phenol as well. Because I do believe that that is an overworld thing as well. So let's go ahead and do both phenol and sulfuric acid. Let's put our machine cover. And then this one produces, I believe, 2 outputs. We've got ourselves diluted sulfuric acid. So we've got our diluted sulfuric acid there. Let's get ourselves the outputs. Is that? It's 1 So we can have our diluted sulfuric acid and our last output. And we can give ourselves the... I kind of forgot. Oh, screwdriver, that's what I was doing. Set this up to the diluted sulfuric acid. This one up to our actual item we need. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All done there. We'll wire it up to power using our samarium now that we need to get back into our IV tier. And I did not drill a hole, so that's great. Glad that I remembered how many blocks away I placed it. And clip the wires together. So that all together, we just need to go grab our phenol, which I believe I'm getting out of something. I don't remember what. Is it this one? That's tooling. That one. So we can just bring down our storage bus to here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. There we go. And so that should now have those functioning properly on the other end. Which it indeed is. Okay. Now comes the final part, where we react the two together. We get our phenol back. We get one of the phenol back. So that's going to go back into our storage bus afterwards. As this one does it require only one? Hold on. No, that's what I thought. It required 2. So we'll just send that back through the storage bus. As I would rather be doing that than having issues with it otherwise. So we'll do this. We will wire that up. And then here comes the fun part. So now we're going to put an interface there, as this will be the output for the phenol. This machine is going to kind of be a little bit backwards compared to the rest of them. Where did our input patches go? Okay. So I need the blocks down below. 2, 3. And I guess this is where I want the power at. So we'll do the power there first. Power there. Down. And then we'll put our input hatches in. So this is going to be the output for the phenol, and then our input and input. Because I don't believe we need more than the one of each. Yeah, we are good on one of each. So put this around, make this specifically this one. And we should be able to wire the rest of this up pretty quickly. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we want the output here is our best bet. We'll do our output, which again will wrench that to be an output. This is going to specifically be the final product. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and maintenance hatch. And so now our final thing that we have to do is pipe up both of these and open the floodgates. And we should see, as soon as we hook this up to power, this begin to take shape. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and clip. And there we go. We now have our polybenzimidazole, which, once again, we will not be crafting too many of these, as it is one of those that is a very heavy resource plastic. So, glad that whatever's causing that not to work is not a problem, because I think I know what it is, too. It's probably that chemical bath down below is not set to set out? No. Something else entirely is not working. There is an issue with it somewhere. I forgot what this thing is making. Oh, got it. Okay. Yep. So now we just need to get ourselves a mold. Which, as much as I want to use a basic casting mold, I think it would almost be better to ship the item in somehow. So what if... Yeah, that's making me think for a second. That we want to just build something that will automatically limit that. Let us grab what I needed to disable this, though. We needed... You know what? I know my brain is going to go kind of scatterbrained with everything. So we're going to actually end it off here. I want to thank you all for watch this entirely super long video, as I was not expecting to go for an entire hour here. But we've made it through the time-consuming process of figuring out the chain to make our polybenzimidazole plastic. And while it's simply in liquid form now, all that we require is some molds to get ourselves the actual plastic. So if I wanted to, I could literally just grab out some, buckets and put it directly into the system. But I don't think that's quite the right way to do that now, is it? I will set it up so that we can export 144. No, we can't do that way. Gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. Maybe I just set this up as a storage bus. Let it auto-craft directly from it. Though if we need more than what is currently contained within, that's going to become a problem. So maybe I do make just a super tank and let it fill up and figure out what happens afterwards. That probably sounds like the most accurate method of the way that I like to do things. We'll solve the problem in the future. That's a problem for future me. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment section at the bottom. Tell me how much I messed this entire spaghetti process up, because it quite obviously did at some point. Thank you all for watching once again, and bye!